Hello again and welcome to Spotlight. I'm Al Gurnav and today we will talk about Abkhazia. This land in the Caucasus on the Black Sea coast gained independence from Georgia back in 1993 after what Abkhazians call the War of Independence. Since then, Abkhazia has remained an independent state de facto, though with no international recognition. The likely declaration of Kosovo's independence and the promised further recognition of the breakaway Serbian state by major Western powers gives Abkhazians new hopes. They're increasing their diplomatic activity, and our guest today is Deputy Foreign Minister of Abkhazia, Maksim Gunjia.
Abkhazia was declared independent almost 14 years ago. However, it is still striving for political and international recognition. Like any former Soviet republic, Abkhazia experienced the same historical process of being incorporated into the Soviet Union, and then the collapse in 1991. From 1921 to 1931, Abkhazia was a union republic of the Soviet Union. In 1931, Abkhazia was incorporated into the Georgian Autonomous Republic by Stalin. Later, Abkhazia was subject to a mass influx of Georgians, and the Abkhazian language was restricted. When Georgia declared its independence in 1991, the autonomous status of Abkhazia was abolished. Today, Abkhazian diplomatic relations are working towards international recognition of the state. Maksim Gunjia, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Abkhazia, has been directly involved in the process.
Hello, Mr. Gunjia, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Alexander.
Thank you very much for being with us. Well, first of all, Serbia's breakaway province of Kosovo is on the verge of declaring its independence from Serbia. Are you following the developments in Europe and Kosovo from Abkhazia?
Exactly. We very attentively watching events in Kosovo, but recognition of Kosovo is not the only hope for us, because whether Kosovo recognized or not, our strive for independence and international recognition will continue. We truly believe that by not recognizing or recognizing Kosovo, international community does not prevent other countries aspiring for independence from their desire to be free.
You said your strive for independence and recognition. Well, you are de facto independent, so this is interesting. I'd like you to elaborate on this further. Are you struggling for independence or for recognition? I mean, do you consider yourself to be fully independent now, and all you need is recognition, or independence isn't complete?
Thank you very much. This is a good question, which gives a very basic ground for countries like Abkhazia to clearly understand their positions. And exactly, we striving for recognition, for political international recognition. We de facto independent for more than 14 years already.
Okay, well, speaking about recognition, major Western countries, well, first of all, the United States, they say they are ready to recognize independent Kosovo as soon as the independence is declared by the Albanians, by Kosovo, and they are ready to do that regardless of the position of Belgrade. When Russian diplomacy, for example, is telling them that there are cases like Abkhazia, Transnistria, Ossetia, and some other places, they say that Kosovo's situation is unique. Do you agree that something is unique about the situation in Kosovo?
I believe that each situation in present de facto countries in all around the world, each situation is unique. But the uniqueness of the recognition of Kosovo is not such unique. I mean, the same precedent could be used for any other countries, like it's not only Abkhazia, but Somaliland, Northern Cyprus, many other places.
Well, one of the arguments of the Russian diplomacy that has been backing Belgrade in the Kosovo situation, Russian foreign minister said that a couple of times, the Russian president, and of course the Russian representatives in the Troika, they are saying that declaring independence by Kosovo and recognition of Kosovo will create dangerous international precedent. And that there will maybe a chain reaction around the world, including Abkhazia. But if they call Kosovo, the Russian diplomacy call Kosovo a probable precedent, why aren't they calling Abkhazia a dangerous precedent when a republic declares independence unilaterally and isn't recognized neither by Tbilisi nor by Moscow?
Well, it's another example of this unfortunate policy of double standards. We truly believe that the international system is changing a lot, and what was created after the World War II is no longer existent and efficient. We believe that international system should change now. We're standing on the edge when the approach to recognition of countries and the approach of admitting countries into United Nations should be reviewed and should be different. Well, people say that we don't need another 500 countries in United Nations, but what's the difference? There could be 700, it doesn't matter at all. And we truly believe that the international community one day will come to the point when they will understand that by not recognizing the reality, they create a much more dangerous precedent in the international policy.
Well, are you serious that 700 countries in the UN will be okay?
Well,
people are talking about the crisis in the UN already, and you're talking about increasing it fivefold?
This is exactly what I mean. The United Nations system should be transformed. It should be transformed according to present realities. And I also represent an organization which is called UNPO, Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, which is like United Nations, but for those who are not members of UN. So we have 69 members there. Most of our members are struggling for protection of their human rights and for some cultural rights. But other countries like Taiwan, Abkhazia, Somaliland, West Sahara, we're all striving for independence. And if we become 200 members in our organization, well, it will give us, I think, more flexibility in trying to get all these nations together, to get them closer.
Well, you are talking about a need to change the rules of admission, the procedure of admission of new members to the United Nations. So what do you think should be the criteria? A successful war against the country that you're disintegrating, or what?
Well, unfortunately, the war happened between Abkhazia and Georgia. We proposed Georgia a peaceful plan. When the Soviet Union collapsed, we weren't ready to fight. We're a small country. War is not in our interest. But your question is very good. It's right into a point. The criteria for admission into United Nations should be a level of democratization in the country, which is going to be admitted. Believe me, there are many countries, I don't want to name them, but there are many countries in the United Nations where human rights level and democracy level is below zero. I think that Abkhazia and other de facto countries much more succeed on this way.
Well, but the United Nations isn't a human rights organization. So, for example, if you say that human rights should be the criteria of being a United Nations member, then I guess like Human Rights Watch or like an organization like this will be the main like UN police and deciding who's going to be member or not. Russia is often characterized by different American politicians as a country with problems in the field of human rights. So they will start the procedure of expelling Russia from the UN. And the Russians say that there's no human rights in America.
Yes, yes. But there are some basic rights which.
But if you're talking about making it a basic principle, it means that in a couple of years the United Nations will collapse because everybody has its own view upon upon human rights, upon democracy. Well, like that, like for Russia and the United States, we have completely different viewpoint about a concept of democracy, of human rights.
But I think human rights, there are some basic principles. The other things which around it and how we see it is the other point. But I'm talking at least basic principles of protection of human rights. This should be a very main criteria. Of course, we have very subjective views on the human rights situation and democratization in many countries. And, we can continue this endlessly to discuss who is more democratic and who is less. But generally,